Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel, or welcome in if you're new. I'm racheysims, and today we're diving deep into MC Command Center. This is one powerful mod that could be the ultimate fix for your Sims 4 gameplay. This mod controls everything from population and pregnancies to bills, relationships, and even occult sims. In this video, I'm going to break down all the MCCC settings I use so you can improve your own Sims 4 gameplay. Let's get into it. This is our model sim, Georgia, and she is going to be walking you through MC Command Center today with me. So I'm going to go ahead and have her stop what she's doing right now. But we are on the computer, which is one of the ways that you access MC Command Center. But there are two other ways as well. If you click on the sim, you can access MC Command Center from here. And then if we go out to the mailbox, we can also access it here by clicking on the mailbox and clicking MC Cheats. So those are three ways that you can access MC Command Center. And each of those ways that you access it, you come up with different options that you can use. So under the mailbox, when we click on that and go to MC Cheats, you could do a few different things here that actually do affect your gameplay. So we have active household cheats here where you can go ahead and fill the household needs. So I love to use this cheat when I start a new rotation because as we can see, when we look at her needs down here, they're not that great when you first start out with a sim. So if I go back to MC Cheats and active household cheats and I click fill the household needs, it will fill everybody's needs in the household. Now it's just one sim in this particular household, but this is great if you have like a large family. You can fill up everybody's needs before you start that rotation. So now when we go and look at her needs, we'll see that they are all in the green. Another cheat here under active household cheats is to fill needs of everybody on the current lot. So this is a great cheat to use when you are running a business or having a party or something like that because it fills up everybody's needs that are on your lot. And so with the current business and hobbies bugs where Sims will come and use the bathroom on themselves, it's great for that. Or it's great if you're having a party and you just want to make sure everybody comes to your party in a good mood, you can do that. So that is another cheat under this active household cheats that I use. Another cheat option that's really great is the seasons cheat. So I'm going to click on that and you can see that we can change the season. So we're currently in summer and I want to go ahead and change it to, let's say, spring. So now you can see that it is spring. This is a great cheat to use if you want all your Sims to stay in the same season. You can go ahead and use this cheat to make all your Sims play through the same season. Something else I wanted to go over on this season cheats that you can do is you can change the weather. So sometimes we want to be outside, we want to have a yard sale, we want to have a pool party, right? And the weather is not cooperating. So you can change the weather to anything that you'd like. So let's change it to rain, even though I don't really want it to be raining. We're going to change it to a light rain. And then it also lets you set the weather duration too. So this will be raining for an hour in my game. If you wanted it to be raining for 5 hours, you would just type in 5. I don't want it to be raining for 5 hours. So I'm just going to hit it for 1 hour. And then when we hit play, it will begin to start raining. As you can see now, it's starting to rain. And it'll rain for about an hour. I'm going to go ahead and change that back to sunny weather because sunny weather is better for filming. The next thing I wanted to go over on MC Cheats is Sims NPC household cheats. So there's some really cool things that you can do here. One of my favorite things is MC Occult. I don't play with occults, but I love this cheat for humanizing occults in my game. So let's say you start talking to a sim and you discover that they're an alien. Oh no. What you can actually do is just click on here and click humanize all aliens. And this will humanize all the aliens that you have in your game. So I like to do this instead of just randomly clicking on the sim and turning them into a a human. But just be warned, the game will regenerate more aliens. But if there's a certain sim that you really want, or a certain few sims that you don't want to be aliens anymore, then you can just click this button. And like magic, no more aliens in your neighborhood. The next thing I want to go over is summon sim. So this is a great way to have a sim come over to your house that you may not even know. So if you click on that and then you click on list all sims, this will list every sim that you have generated in your game. So we can invite over people we don't know. So I'm going to invite over Ash over to our house. So all you do is click over and invite him. And there we go. And Ash will be right over. Here comes Ash to our house. And the cool thing about this is he knocks on the door. So I love this. Like if you just want to invite someone over, you don't know them, they will actually just come to the house and knock on your door. So I'm going to just go ahead and meet him. But this is great for storytelling. You can just have a random sim anytime you want pop over to your house and you can meet them. So now she has met Ash, and of course she's instantly attracted to him. So another thing that I use under Sims NPC household cheats is unhide hidden households. So this is actually great if you have a hidden household that you want to get in a relationship with, or even that you just want to give like a makeover to or something like that, and you can't find them, then this is a way that you can do it. So you click on that, unhide hidden households, and it brings up this menu right here. Let's see. And let's say we started dating Panya. I know in my games everybody is always hooking up with him. So we're going to click on him and click unhide. And then just hit that checkmark button. So now you see we have the notification that hidden households were found and made visible. So now if I go to manage households and click the other households tab and type in Panya, we see that he is here. So I could give him a makeover, I could do whatever kind of maintenance I want to do to that sim, and I'm easily able to do that now. So another thing that I personally haven't used before, but I did want to go over with you guys, is deletion cheats. So let's say you're starting in a save file, you've downloaded someone else's save file, and you love all the houses, but you don't want to keep any of the NPCs. You can actually use this cheat. So instead of going into Manage World and deleting each household one at a time, you can actually do it right here, and it's way quicker. So you can click delete all sims, and if you click OK, it will delete all the sims in your world, and you can start over with a clean, fresh slate. Now I'm not going to do that because I don't want to delete all the sims in my world, but I did want to show you this option too. So the next access spot I want to go over with that you can access MC Command Center is when you click on the sim itself. So I want to click on my sim right here, and I'm going to click on MC Command Center. So this will bring up a few different things about the sim. Up here, you'll see their age, how many days they have in their lifespan, if they're married or not, if they have any children, and where they live at. So you will get that quick little info box right here, and then of course you can make changes to the sim that will help your gameplay. So you can just click on here, modify household and cast. I use this all the time, and that brings up cast, and you can make any kind of change that you want to the sim. You can give the sim outfits, change their traits, you can do all that stuff from right here. Another thing I want to go over is sim commands. So you can do a few different things here. So you have the modifying cast where it opens up cast again, but you can set their age. So you can change them. So she is currently a young adult. Let's say I wanted to make her an adult. I could just click on her, and then she will have her birthday and turn into an adult. All right, and you see she has aged up now to an adult. And then if I want to change her back, if I want to just change an adult sim to a younger sim, I'll just do the same thing. I'll set the age and go back to a young adult. They won't have a birthday. They will just automatically age down to a young adult. But this is great. You can use this on townies. If there's a townie that's like an elder, you want them to be an adult or a young adult, you can do that. So that is one of the ways that I use that. You can also set the days in their age span. So I think it said that it was 2 days into her age span. Let's say I want to make her closer. Let's say I want to make her closer to the end of her age. And I want to change it to 30. I just type that in here. And now she is 30 days into her age span. And you can see that up top that it has changed to 30. So another thing under sim commands that has a lot of options that you can use is maintain sim. So you can go and rename the sim right here besides going into cast. So let's say you wanted to change a sim's name, maybe a townie's name or something. You could go in here and do it without having to go into cast. You can delete sim. So if there's a sim that's driving you crazy, you can just click on this and delete them, and they'll just be deleted from your game. Or you can even just click on that and kill them, and they will die from an in-game death and turn into a ghost. You can do that. Let's say you want to move a sim to a different household. You can do that from here as well. So let's say you're romancing someone and they live with somebody else and you don't want that for your storyline purposes. You can do that from here. Set gender preference. So another example, if you're romancing someone, they're not into you, you can go in and change the gender preference to whatever you'd like. You can do that. Or even if for, storytelling purposes, they have a change of heart in their gender preference, you can do that from here. So another thing on here I use a lot is teleport commands. So if you click on here, you can teleport a sim to your sim right here. So you'll want to click teleport a sim to this sim. And then you can teleport anybody that you have in your world to the sim. So let's do that and teleport a world sim to the sim. And I'm going to teleport Amy to her. So now you can see Amy has teleported right on top of her. So I'm going to go ahead and have her introduce herself to her. But that is another way where you can kind of summon a sim over to you right away. All right, so moving down to occult commands. If you click on here, this is another way you can add some gameplay. So let's say we wanted to turn her into an alien. I can just click on alienize sim. And she will now be an alien. As you can see by here, she's now an alien. All right. And if I want to humanize this alien sim, I can do that as well. So I'll just click on her. Go back to occult commands. And I can humanize the sim. So now she is a human, except for now she's white. I probably should have did that with the other sim. So let me go out of this game and go back in. So moving on to MCCC, one of the things I love to use here is to select a favorite drink. So this lets you select a favorite drink for your sim to enjoy. So I like this. I like to pick kind of what I think they'd like to drink. So I'm going to pick the River Blossom Hills Sauvignon Blanc drink because I think my sim would love that. So now she has a new favorite drink. Now let's go to MC Cheats. So this one is very helpful for gameplay. So if let's say we want to increase the funds of our sim. So if you're playing my rotational gameplay, then you might want to increase the funds of the mayor, and this is one way you can do it. So if you click on here and click increase funds, you can actually just go here and give that sim that amount of money. So let's say the mayor received $500 in taxes. You can just add that here. And then your household funds have increased by $500. Another thing that's helpful is cheating sim info. So this is something I do use when I create sims. A lot of times I will give them a degree from university. If I go here to expansion cheats and I go to university cheats, I can award a specific degree. So this is what I like to do. And then you can pick what kind of degree. If they earned an honors degree, a prestige degree, or honors and prestige degree. Let's say I just want to give her a regular diploma in like communications. If we go over here, we've unlocked this family recipe for university. I'm ignoring that for now. But you can see if we over here we have the notification that we have earned an award in communication. And then if we go to their Simology panel, you'll see under degrees that we have a communications degree. So honestly, this is really great when creating Sims from the start. You might have a Sim that has come to your area that has a degree already and you want to give them to them. So I love using this cheat. Another way I use this too is with celebrities. So I can also do this with Sims who I want to become famous, right? So I can click on Get Famous expansion cheat and increase the celebrity level right here. So let's say we want her to increase to a 1-star celebrity. We just do that. And now she is a 1-star celebrity. If we wanted to decrease her celebrity level, we can do that too. And goes back down to 0. Another thing that's really great too when creating new Sims is skill cheats. So if you downloaded a Sim from the gallery and they came with a bunch of skills and you want to get rid of those, you can just click here and forget all skills and they will no longer have any skills. So if we go here to her skills, she has no skills. So I like to do this when I first start off with a Sim. If I download them from the gallery and have a bunch of skills, then I like to do that. Now back in Cheat Sim info, another great thing you can do is skill cheats. You might have a Sim that has come to your town and you want to give them specific skills. So you can set your skills to a certain level. So I'm going to click on that. Let's say I want her to be an ace piano player. So if I click here on piano and then I check that, and then I can set this for whatever level I want. So I'm going to set it to 5. So now you see we've reached level 5 in piano and we have that under our skills as well. So this is a way if you really want to create a specific Sim, give them certain skills and stuff already that you can do that. This is another helpful cheat. Let's say you have a Sim that has one of the money aspirations and you want to reset their aspiration to 0 where they're starting fresh. If you just click on reset aspirations, it'll knock the aspiration back down to start. And that's just great when you're starting off with a new Sim and you want to make sure they are starting completely blank from scratch. Another MC cheat that's helpful is just to make them happy. So you have a Sim come over and let's say they have a little too much nectar and they pass out. You can just click on that to make them happy, increase their mood, or just they come over grumpy for no reason at all. You can click here and make them happy. Yeah, so those are some of the cheats I use in MC Cheats. MC Dresser, honestly, I don't use that too often. Honestly, this is great for townies though. So one of the things that you can do with a townie that's come by with a crazy outfit and you want to change it, you can do this really easily. You can just click on randomize part and you can randomize, let's say come over wearing a crazy top. You can just click on top and it will change their top into something else. That's even crazier, but actually it matches a little better than what he was wearing before. But you can go ahead and do that and you just keep clicking it until you get what you want. So let's try that again and let's randomize the top again. Let's see. All right, so I picked that for his top. He'll just wear that for now. But yeah, so you can go in and adjust their outfits like that too. That's another way if you have a townie wearing something crazy that you can go in and fix their outfit really quick. Another outfit thing that you can do is you can remove all of their accessories. So if they're coming in wearing some crazy custom content accessory that you have, if you click remove all accessories, it will remove all of their accessories. And you can see here it removed her glasses. So this is another way too that you can fix your townies without having to go into casts. All right, MC Pregnancy. Now I do use this in my gameplay all the time. So if you click here, I'm gonna go ahead and start a pregnancy with Ash right here. I'm gonna start a pregnancy and I'm gonna just make it one male. So we just add the one here and click here. And now you see that she is pregnant with one male baby up here. So what I typically use this for is at the end of my rounds, I will pause my pregnancy. So that otherwise, if you go on to the next household, your sim will have the baby while you're playing that other household, which I don't want. So if I go here and pause pregnancy, now you can see pregnancy is paused up here, and when I'm playing other households, she will not give birth, she'll stay pregnant. So I use this all the time in my gameplay. And then when you want to go back and you start playing with her again, you want to resume the pregnancy, all you gotta do is come down here and click resume pregnancy, and her pregnancy is resumed. Now you can do a lot of things here. Let's say you want to have multiples. You can change it to twins, and now they are pregnant with one male and one female baby. You can change the pregnancy phase. You can change it to where she's second trimester pregnant. So you can change that. You can change the partner actually. So let's say you want to have some drama in your gameplay and you want her to have a baby with a celebrity. So let's say she's pregnant by Drake. So you can change that here. You could do all kinds of different things if you want to spice up your gameplay a little more. MC Pregnancy, you can do so much with that. And then let's just say you accidentally got pregnant and didn't intend to, and you just want to end the pregnancy. You can just do that here as well. And now the pregnancy is ended and she is no longer pregnant. So that's some of the things that you can do with MC Pregnancy. You can really add a lot of drama to your gameplay with it. But honestly, I just use it mostly to pause and resume my pregnancy in between playing the household. So sim flags, I do actually use something in here, and I think this will help you guys as well. So if you click here, you'll see the flags are to get pregnant flag, always opposite sex pregnancy. But then what I use it for is flag freeze physique, which I currently have turned on. But I do this because when I play, since I play rotationally, I don't necessarily want their physique to change, and I'll have parties, I'll invite people out to dinner, I'll go on dates with people, and typically they gain weight because they're eating when they're not hungry. So that is why I flag freeze physique. So you just click on MC Cast, and let me clear that option, and then you will see flag freeze physique. You click on that, and then you click flag freeze physique. A sim flag for freeze physique will never lose or gain muscle or fat from their current state, and you click OK. And I just do that. Like I said, I don't want them gaining weight in between rounds. If I want them to gain weight, I can manually adjust that in cast. So that is what I do, and you guys might like that too. Okay, and then the last one that we're going to go over is relationships. So this is actually really helpful for storytelling. So I'm going to click here on add relationship with sim on the lot, and I'm going to click on Amy, and I'm going to make Amy my sister. So now if we go here and click on Amy, we'll see that we are sisters. So I have removed that sister relationship, and if I go back on her, and I can actually, besides daughter, sister, mother, you can have more options. If you click add family relationship bit and click family bits, you can make her cousin or her aunt or granddaughter. So if you want to get into more extended family gameplay, you can add that through here. I don't think it affects anything on like the family tree or anything like that, but this is a great option to do too. So if we go back and look at her profile with her, you'll see now that they are cousins. So this is just great for storytelling. Let's say you have a long lost cousin come to town, right? You can add that through here. If you're playing my Forever World rotational challenge and you don't have townies unlocked yet, this could be a very helpful cheat. Clear all relationships. So you could click here, clear all relationships, and now you see down here we know no one anymore. So this is helpful when you're starting out, or even for gameplay, right? You have a sim that has amnesia and she forgot everybody. You can do that from here. Or let's say I want to become friends with the two sims that are over here, right? I can actually do that from here. So I can set active relationship for a lot, for both male and female, and I can set it for friendly. And we'll just set it for liked. So this will set that for everybody on the lot, and as you can see, I think it spawns it for everybody in the world. So we have Tristan over here. And then she's over here. So everybody that's basically like in your world view, it'll set that you know each other. So those are just some of the things that you can do with the relationship part of MC Command Center to add and adjust relationships in your game. So the final way to really change the overall settings in your gameplay and make it more realistic is by the computer. So if you click on the computer and then you click on MC Command Center, it'll bring up this module and you can really tinker around with this and really adjust it. And there is another way to access this though. So if you're playing Rags to Riches or you're playing my rotational challenge and you don't have electricity unlocked, you don't have a computer yet, you can actually access this through the cheats. If you click Control-Shift-C, it'll bring up your cheat bar. And then you're going to type in MC_settings and hit enter. And then that also brings up this MC Command Center menu. So this is really helpful. Now, since I have a computer, I'm just going to access it this way. But you can see there's so many different settings on here. Let's go over the first ones. Age settings. So if you want to play with custom ages, you would do that here. So you can set age span duration, and then you would go down to human. Now you can change it for your cats, dogs, and horses as well too. I just do it for the humans though. If you click on there and go to whatever lifespan you're playing on, I play on normal, so I go here. And then if we click on my teen sims, right, you can see that the ages I have is 16, or the days, and that age span is 16 versus what EA has is 21, and you can really adjust it to what you want. Now when I started playing this way, I had my ages set for way longer and it was just too much for me, so I've adjusted them down some and I'm trying that out and seeing if I like that better. But I had my ages like way up and it was just way too much for me. So I have tinkered around a little. If you guys want to see what ages I'm currently using, just let me know and I'll be sure to add that to my gameplay guide. But you would go in here and adjust it for each ages, and all you do is click on here, change the ages to, let's say we're going to do 2 for that one, and just click OK, and then you'll get this pop up over here saying days in the age span has been changed, but you do need to do a game restart for these to take into effect. So you would just do that for each of these ages. So the next adjustments we're going to make is to gameplay settings. So I have this enable adopt neglected child, which is enabled so that if your child gets taken away by social services in the game, they will go to another family instead of just social services taking it away. And then you can move that child to your orphanage or something like that. So if you're playing with like an orphanage in your game, then you can move that child to the orphanage instead of that townie family. But this just helps it so that when they do take your child away, it can go to social services. So you actually might want to have that, right? Let's say if you're playing with mods and you have a sim that doesn't want children and they have a baby, they can actually get taken away by social services, and then you can add your orphanage to the game. So that might be how you want to play it. But I do have that enabled. Another adoption setting I have is adopt no caregiver. So if somebody dies, any of your children's sim will be adopted and not deleted. So I have that enabled as well. Another setting I have here is neighborhood action plan bypass. So I haven't typically used this yet in my game, but I am going to definitely add this because I hate that we wear bags, neighborhood action plans. So basically, if you click on this and you enable it, when voting happens, they will no longer have this option for we wear bags. So if there's something on here that you don't like, then you can just check it and click it. And then once voting happens, they won't have that. So if you like your neighborhood action plans to be very random and sporadic, but there's certain things you hate, that you can bypass that there. So I love MC Command Center just for this setting alone, pause on zone. So I have that enabled. So whenever I go to a community lot or to another household, the game automatically pauses. It doesn't start playing. So I love this. I have that enabled. MC Command Center is worth it just for that. So this is something I don't normally use, but I did want to go over it, which is mode of decay. So you can actually change your mode of decay for things like babies, which I think would be helpful, right? So let's say you wanted a household you're playing the baby to be like very colicky, right? You might want them to double their mode of decay. So you would just set that to 200. While you're playing them, you have to restart the game. At the thing while you're playing them, they require way more attention than they used to before. So I'm not going to save any of these settings, but I just wanted to show you that. Fame decay, let's say if you had a sim that's famous and but this actually changes it for the whole game, so just you'd have to change it back if you want it. But let's say the celebrity system, you think it's way too easy for them to lose their fame. So you want to change it to no mode of decay at all. You can change that by changing it to 0 up here. So I don't typically play with these, but you might want to add that to your game if you want to make it a little more harder or easier with motives. And this is also great too for cats and dogs, right? If you don't want your cats and dogs to have any mode of decay, you want them to always be fine and not require anything from you, you can just change that to 0 too. So those are just some options to make your gameplay a little more realistic or even a little bit more easier if you want to change any of those things. Now, if we go to money settings, I typically don't adjust anything here because I use the S&B bills mod, but if you don't, then this might be very, very helpful for you. So let me go over this. So you can change things like the apartment bill percent. So if you want your apartment bills to be way less, you can adjust that here. Let's say let's change it to like -50 because I think the apartment bills are kind of crazy. You can change that here. You can change the bill percentage. So if if you want them to be really cheap because you are just starting My Forever World rotation and you only have like electricity and water, so you think your bill should be way cheaper, you should do -75 or something like that, right? You can make it way cheaper, way more expensive. You can adjust that here. Child support, so you can adjust that here too. Let's say you want it to be like, instead of a 1, you can do to 10. You can adjust the child support percent to that. Inheritance sim type, so this will definitely be helpful once your sims are elders and they start passing away, but you can change the inheritance sim type to if everyone will leave, an inheritance. If you just want your played Sims to leave an inheritance or played an NPC, I have it set to all. I want everybody to be able to leave an inheritance when they pass away. And then inheritance spouse first. I have that enabled so when someone dies and they have a spouse, the spouse will get it first. I think that's more realistic, so I have that enabled, and I think that's what it's set to as default anyway, but I just wanted to go over that. But let's say you wanted to disable that, you didn't want the spouse to get it first, you could change it there. Pay child support. So I don't have this enabled. I use the child support system in SMB bills, but you can change this to that they will receive child support. All right, the next settings under here I want to go over is notification console menu settings. So console command settings, one thing I have enabled is full edit and cast. I have that enabled, so anytime I go into cast, I can change anything at all. Certain things won't be locked. So I have this enabled. It's just one less cheat I have to remember to use, so I definitely encourage you guys to use that too. Another thing that you guys can do is you can actually turn headline effects off here. So I have them enabled, but you can turn them off if they annoy you. You just have to remember to turn back on when you want to use them. Another cheat that you can enable is testing cheats. So I have this already enabled in MC Command Center. Another cheat that you don't have to put in, you can just have it always enabled. Now I want to go down to notification settings. So this brings up like all the notifications over here. You can adjust, turn on, turn off. So aging death notifications. So when people age up, if you want to see that, I have it set for all. I want to see everyone in my world that ages up, but you can change it to it's just played Sims, active friends only. You can adjust that to whatever you want, but I like to know all the tea. I want to know who is aging up. So I have that enabled too. Yes. Death notifications, I have that set to everybody as well. You can go in and change it to birthday notifications. I have that enabled. Pet death notifications, I have it enabled as well for everybody. And that's just up to you what you want to have and what you don't. MC population notification settings. So when people move in and out, you can turn that on or off. Right now I have that disabled. And moving settings, I do have that turned on. But when houses are empty, I don't have that turned on. MC pregnancy notifications. So show birth notifications. So when someone gives birth, a townie gives birth, that will be enabled and you'll get the notification pop up over here. I have that enabled. When anybody gives birth, I have it set to anybody in the world to show that. Marriage notifications, I also show to have that everybody in the world will show that. Pregnancy affair notifications. Now this is when you get some spicy tea, right? So if someone is married and they have a baby with somebody else, it'll show that for anybody in the world. I have that enabled. Pregnancy notifications. So when anybody's pregnant, it'll show that. Relationship changes. If there's relationship changes in the game between like people who are married or in a relationship, it'll change that. I have it set to everybody. You can tone that down though if that is too much for you. Now neighborhood stories settings. So these are the settings in neighborhood stories. So you can turn these on or off if you want. So for show adoption types, I have that for everyone. Career types, I have that for everyone. If anybody starts a new job or quits, it'll show that. Death types, if anybody dies, it'll show that here. Pet adoptions, it'll show here. If you don't care about this, you can disable it. Population types. So if somebody moves in, it'll show that there. And then pregnancy types, it'll show that for everybody there. So you can adjust these, but these are the settings that are in neighborhood stories. And if you want to be notified of them or not, you can enable or disable that from here. Show notifications. So if you think this game gives you way too many notifications and you don't want to have them, you can disable it here. I have it enabled, of course. So phone text. So I currently have it set up to receive all text, but let's say you're playing my rotational challenge and you don't want to receive any text at all. So you can actually change this to no text, which might be helpful for your gameplay if you're not liking the text, but I just kind of treat them as letters for my gameplay. But if you're playing my rotational challenge and you don't want any text at all until you get your phones turned on, then you can change that to no text. Now to relationship settings. So you can do a lot of different things here. So you can allow teen parenting. I have that enabled so teens can take care of children. We need all the help we can get with raising kids in this game. So I have that enabled. Under auto relationship settings, under my breakup settings, breakup move out sim. I have that a random sim will move out. So I think it typically makes the male sim move out. But if you want like a male or female to move out, then it will randomly pick who will move out, which is a little more realistic. You can change the couple relationship change percentage. So if you think you're getting too many notifications about couples relationship changes, you can adjust that down. Right now I have it set to 30. I might actually change it maybe to 15 or something. I don't know. I need to mess around with this a little more, but you can change that. Move children with breakup. So I have that set to 15%. So it just depends on what you want to do with your children. If you always want them to move, if you don't, if you want it to be random, then you can adjust that here. Spouse relationship change percent, I have that set at 20. So once people are married, if you want their relationship to change, there's a 20% chance. That's how I currently have it set up, but you can adjust that to how you see fit. And then move-in settings. So I do allow homeless romances. That creates some interesting stories. And then move-in ages. I have young adult, adult, and elder. Any of those ages can move in. Move-in romance level. So you can set it to whatever you like. I currently have it set to sweethearts, but you might want it to be lovers. You might want it to be at that level before a sim moves in. So you might want to change it to that. And that's up to you guys. And then there's a romance move in percent. So I have that at to 40. So I might want to tweak this down some so it's not happening as often. But that's up to you guys what you want to do. Okay, so now onto friendship decay percentage. I just have that set at the default, so you can change that to how you like. Romantic decay percentage, I also have that at 100, but you can change that to what you like. Yeah, so those are some of the options under relationship settings. There's more that you can mess with as far as like the difficulty goes. I'm not going to go over those, but you can go in here and tweak that if you like. All right, so the next module is MCCC. I typically don't really adjust anything here, but I do think the offspring one can be helpful for you guys. So if you want to use the parents' physical attributes, I have that disabled. But if you want them to like look more like their parents, you can have that enabled. I typically just go into CAS and adjust it, but you can definitely enable that there. If you want to have your Sims get their skin tones directly from their parents, you can do that. I have that disabled though. If you want to get their skin details, you can enable that too. So those are some of the things under offspring that might be helpful for you to kind of tweak your genetics of your offspring in the game. The next module is MC Career. So if we click on that, there's some different things that you can do. One of the things that I think would be super helpful if you're playing my rotational guide is to have children quit school enabled. So if you don't have a school system yet, then your children can quit school as well as your teens. I have both of those disabled, but you can adjust that while you're playing the challenge, and then once you get your school system up and running, you can turn that back. You can disallow that, but that might be helpful. I think this is also helpful if you play historical. That will definitely be helpful for that. Neighborhood story settings. You can alter the in-game neighborhood stories if you click on that. So under alter neighborhood stories, I have that disabled, but actually I need to change this in my own thing because that needs to be enabled, so that when you bypass played households, like if you have that checked for anything, which I do, then we want to skip played households, then I need to enable that, and that's why that's not skipping those played households. So check this setting to make sure you have it turned on, and I need to update that in my game as well. So some other things in here too that I think will be helpful is university difficulty adjustment. So you can make it a little more easier. I feel like university is a little hard in this game. So you can make that easier. You can make homework, university homework, or just your children's school homework. You can make that easier too if you think that's too hard. I think children's homework is fine, but I do think the university homework is a little ridiculous, just for playing a game personally. So you can go in and adjust that. So if you want it to be slower, that would be negative, and then if you want it to be positive, if you want it to be faster. So like if I wanted it to be faster, I think I'd, turn it to 25 or 50, something like that. So you adjust that here. The next module is MC Clubs. So the only thing I adjust here is a club member count. So I like to have big clubs. I like to have a founders club. So all my founders, the settlers, and their children are all in one big club. So I can really have club gatherings easier. I can invite all of them over. So I currently have it set to 20. The maximum value is 50. So if we go here to the Founders Club, you'll see that I have way more Sims than the normal 8, and that's because I've increased that limit. And then I have, all the adults and then the children too as well. So I definitely recommend doing this if you like playing with larger clubs. MC Occult. So I really don't play with occult sims. Usually I just make them human. But if you click here and you do play with occult sims, you might want to be able to make aliens, abduction settings. You might only want certain ages to be able to be abducted, so you can change that here. The frequency of abductions. I feel like the game has really ratcheted up alien abduction, so I might want to change that actually to no alien contact, which would prevent aliens from being abducted. If that drives you crazy, if you like playing realistically, you can change that. That might be helpful. All right, the next module is MC Population. So this module does a lot with the population in your world. So under moving settings, if you want homeless sims to move in, I have that disabled. But if you want them to move into your empty houses, you can do that here. And then these bypass ones, you could bypass ancestral households, dorm residents, played households. Definitely you want to make sure that's enabled. The default is enabled. But this really is basically how you want your households to move in and out. I currently don't really do too much with this right now. But as you get further into your save files, you might want to tweak this a little more. Populating settings. So you can change the percentage of certain ages that your game will generate. Like elders, I feel like this game generates way too many elders, so I definitely need to adjust that down. It's currently at 33, which is the default, but I feel like there's way too many elders that generate in my game. You can change the age of the butlers if you're playing with that. Yeah, but I think this is super helpful if you want the game to generate like a certain amount of adults in your game. I think this is super helpful for that. And then one of the big things that I use this population for is for bringing in townies that I have saved already from my library. So if you go to import trace settings, import tray percent. I currently have it set to 100% of the Sims that come into my game will come from my library. So you can change this to a lower amount. I typically run it between 95 and 100%, but you definitely this is definitely helpful for preventing randomly generated townies. And then the other thing that you want to do is and limit import by tags. So if you go to only include tags, then it'll only bring in the Sims in your library that have a certain tag. And let me show you that. So if I click on one of these households in my library, you'll see this tag MCCC underscore include. And that is the hashtag that you need in the description for any of these households that you want to populate in your game as townies. And there are a few other things actually on here that you want to have enabled. Include gender options. So if you want to include their gender options in there, you want to have that enabled. Include clothing is super important. That's set up default as disabled, but if you want them to spawn to your game with the clothing that you carefully picked out or someone else did, you want to have that enabled. Import sim name. You definitely want to have this. I think this is what the current option is. This is what the default option is, but it will skip the sim if the name exists. Now, where this doesn't work is if your sim marries, if your townie sim marries another sim, it will regenerate that townie. I've seen that happen so many times. So you'd have to go in and delete that sim or give it a makeover or something. But just so you guys are aware, it does do that. And then import bypass appearance, that just keeps their physical appearance the same. So you want that enabled. Another setting on here that's super helpful is enable or disable bar nights. Okay, so by default, all of these bar nights are enabled in the game, but alien night, bear night, ghost night, those are not realistic. So I just have guys night enabled, ladies night, and singles night enabled. Neighborhood story setting. So if you want to alter the neighborhood stories to what you have done in MC Command Center, you definitely want to click enable here. And then other settings. So this might be something that you want to have bypass sim culling. So if you have that enabled, Sims will never be culled when the population reaches high numbers. And then you could just go in and like manually delete Sims. But if you don't want the game to just delete some of your townies, then you definitely need that enabled. Maximum Sims in zone is something that I have too. So if you want more Sims on your lot and your computer can handle it, I currently have mine set to 40, and honestly I could probably push it to more. My computer can handle it, but you have to test this to see what your computer can handle and what it can't. But this is super helpful. This is helpful for like parties, having like a lot of people over at parties. I think this is even like community lots, having more people at community lots. This is really helpful. All right, now let's go to MC pregnancy. So adoption settings, this is where you can change like what ages you can have adopted into your game. I have baby through teen enabled. You can change the percentage. So right now it's 50% male. So 50% female. Opposite sex adoption percent. So opposite sex adoption percent. So this is when your male and female Sims, how many Sims they adopt. I have it set to 0 so they won't adopt babies. They just have them naturally. And then same sex adoption percent, I have that set to 10%. So there's a 10% chance same sex couples will adopt children. So under marriage sim selection, so we have homeless marriage again. So what I have enabled here under marriage sim selection is the days to run checks. So default is Saturday. On every Saturday, it will run checks for marriage, but I have it set up to twice a week. So I have it set up for Monday and Friday, where it will run checks for marriage, and you'll get notifications on those days about Sims who have gotten married in your game. And then under marriage percentage, this is the percentage that your Sims will get married. So teen Sims currently are 0% because teens are too young to get married. But if you're playing historical, you might want to change that. And then young adult is 10. And the adult is 10. And then elders are 5. So you guys can adjust that to whatever you want however you're playing this game. So use gender preference. So by default, it's disabled. So I have it set for realism that NP Sims will marry the Sims that they have the gender preference for. And then for valid ages for marriage, I have young adult, adult, and elder. I don't have teen, but if you're playing historically, then you might want to have that enabled. And then neighborhood story settings. So under here, this does affect the neighborhood stories. So you want to make sure you have that enabled for MC pregnancy. Child adoption limit. So sometimes you would go into the game without mods and a family will have 6 adopted kids, which is not realistic. There are families that have that many adopted kids, but most of the time, no. So you can adjust that. So I think I had it at 2 before, and then I changed it to 1 because I still felt like they're adopting too many kids. So that is what I have right now. And then only use neighborhood stories. So you can have that enabled if you only want your MC pregnancy to come from your settings and neighborhood stories. And then there's also a pet adoption limit, which is the same thing, right? Sims will adopt a ton of pets, and if you cut that down to 1, they won't adopt as many. Under offspring, for identical offspring chance, so I have that set to 50. There's a 50% chance when you have multiples that they will look the same. I don't currently use inherit trait types, but you can change that to if you will like your children to have a trait that their parents have. Maximum household children. So this is another way to help your families in game from having a million kids. I have it set to 3. So maximum offspring is how many biological children your sim will have. So I have that set to 3 as well. And sync child surname, I have that enabled. So once they're adopted, they will get their adopted parents' last name. For other marriage, some of the marriage settings you might want to have rename opposite sex. So if this is just depends on how you want to play. I have it set that they will use the male's name for opposite sex marriages, but you might want to use male or female. Use female, it depends on how you want to play. For renaming same gender, I do have it enabled so their names will match. And then this might be helpful too. I have it set to prefer partners in the same neighborhood, just so that they are kind of in that same town and they're not on opposite sides of the sim country. So I have that set to prefer in same neighborhood. Now if we go down to other pregnancy, so you can allow pregnancy aging. I think I have that disabled, but this is actually more realistic to have it enabled, so you can turn that on. And I have it disabled because in my game I have 3 days as the pregnancy, which is not really realistic. That's why I have it turned off. You can enable it if you want more realism. And then for auto marry percentage, so this is the percent of chance that unmarried Sims will get married after they become pregnant. So I have that set to 35. So you can actually pause your Sims pregnancies, your played Sims if you like. You can just click here and click that. Pregnancy duration is something else that's super helpful. So if you want to change how long your Sims are pregnant, if you want to change it to 1 day instead of 3, you could do that. If you want to change it to 2 days, I just have it set to 3, so you get each trimester. And then I have enough time to have like a baby shower and prep for the baby. So that's why I have it set to the default of 3, but you can change it to longer or shorter, whatever you'd like. Random mood duration. So I haven't adjusted this, but this will limit the time for how long your Sims will get random moods during their pregnancy. So if you want them to last longer, you can update that here. And then use random moods. So I have that disabled, but if you want to use random moods, then you can do that here. So they might become very angry while they're pregnant or very playful. You can adjust that to enabled. Now, under partner sim selection, we have some options. So we can allow affairs percentage. So I have that set to 10. So this is the percentage chance that married Sims will have pregnancies with people outside of their marriage. We like drama and tea on this channel, so I have that set to 10. And then you can also limit it by relationship too. So I have it set to no relationship limit, but you can change it to that only your significant others, woohoo partners, married only. You can set that to that is who would be pregnant. So these are some other options on here too. You can do same sex percentage, the percentage of chance two Sims of the same gender will have a baby. I have it set to 0. You can update that if you want childbirth to happen between same sex parents. You can do use same age auto group. So I have that disabled. So like a young adult and adult can have children together. I have that disabled. And then valid partner ages. I have young adult. I don't have teens and elders, but if you want your teen Sims to get pregnant or even your elder Sims, you can enable that. Or actually, these are just the partners. And then valid partner ages. So for the ages, I have young adult and adult as the partner. So now your pregnant Sim selections. So if you want your homeless Sims to be pregnant, you want that enabled. And then if you don't want like dorm people to be pregnant, you can disable that. I have that enabled. If you don't want your played Sims to be randomly pregnated, then you want that enabled. If you want to bypass renters or robots, you do the same thing. Or active Sim romances, I have that enabled. So my active Sims romances, they won't just become pregnant. Days to run checks. So this is when the game will run pregnancy checks. It'll do that at midnight. And then the days that it will do it is Tuesday and Saturday. And you can change this to just one day. I have it set to Tuesday and Saturday though. Pregnancy percentage. So you can customize by the age what percentage you want your Sims to be pregnant. So for teens, I have it set to 10. Young adult, I have it set to 30. Adult, I have it set to 20. And then elder, I have it set to 0. And then use gender preference. So that is disabled here, and I need to enable that. So you guys want to enable that. All right, and then for valid target ages, so these are the ages that your Sims must be to be pregnant. So we have teen, young, adult, and adult. And we don't have elder. So if you do not want teen pregnancy, then you need to uncheck that. But I have that enabled. And then spouse Sim selection. So this you can really customize if you want your game to have somebody be married to multiple Sims. You can do that here. You can specify the exact multiple amounts they can have there. Same sex percentage, the percent that they will be allowed to be married, you can have that, adjust that there. And then if you want to have only the same age groups married, you could have that here. And then the valid spouses ages as well, you can have that there. But there's a lot that you can adjust here, and honestly, I need to adjust some things here too as well. So the next setting we want to go over is MC Tuner. So if we go to change interaction behavior, so there are some things that you might want to adjust here as well. If you want children to be able to take care of babies, you can have that enabled or disabled. I have that enabled. Allow emotional deaths. So I have that enabled. I like the realism of maybe spontaneous death from being angry or too playful or embarrassed. I like that. Allow monster under the bed. So I have that disabled because I hate that stupid monster under the bed. And if you hate it too, you can disable it here. Allow multiple BFFs. I have that enabled because I think that's realistic to have multiple BFFs. Friendly ask if single. So if you like to friendly just ask someone if they're single, you can do that from here. Have that enabled. Friendly stay the night too as well. I have that enabled. If I want a friendly stay the night, I can do that there. Kiss is always available. I have that enabled. So passionate and suave kisses are always available. This is just like a game. Fix. Put away book fix. So Sims, when they're done reading, they will put it away. So you won't have books lying everywhere. I have that enabled. And then stop random flirting. I have that disabled, but if the random flirting drives you crazy, you can enable that so they'll stop doing that. But I like the chaos. I like the drama. So I have that disabled. And then under change interaction autonomy, so there's some different things that you can disable. So if you don't want your Sims constantly being mean to each other, you can have that disabled. I have that disabled. I might actually re-enable that just for some more drama. And then autonomous mischief, I have that disabled, but I might actually re-enable that too because I like drama. But if you love autonomous proposals, I would definitely enable that. If you want your sim to just autonomously propose to another sim, I recommend that. And then autonomous marriage, I do have that disabled because I want to be at my sim's weddings. I want to plan it. So I have that disabled. And there's other autonomous things you could do. You could have people just autonomously repair things. You could have people autonomously clean. I had that enabled, but the thing I didn't like about this was that when you would go to a restaurant, just random people eating at the restaurant would clean up and not the waiters. So I have that disabled. I recommend you do too. Now let's go to MC Woohoo. So if we go to Woohoo actions, you can do some things here. You can allow friendlier Woohoo partners. I have that enabled. So your Sims will Woohoo and they don't have to be high friendship level to do it. Allow polygamy. So I have this disabled, but if you want to have chaos in your game, if you want your Sims to propose to multiple people, stuff like that, you can enable that. Allow teens. If you want your teens to be able to woohoo, you would do that here. I have that enabled. Allow try for baby. So I have this disabled. So when you just click on a sim you won't have the try for baby option pop up. I have that disabled. And then elder try for baby. I have that disabled. If you want your elders to be pregnant, you can do that here. And then same-sex try for baby, I have that disabled, but if you want your same-sex Sims to be able to try for baby, you can do that here. If we go to Woohoo Pregnancy, you will see Risky Woohoo % here. So you can have that set for the different ages. So if you want your teens to have Risky Woohoo, you could do that here. Young adults, I have that set to 25, and then adults, I have that set for 20. For elder, I have that set for 0, so you can tweak this here, how you'd like your Risky Woohoo percentage to be. You can use fertility and risky. I have that disabled, but you can use that too. If you want maybe more chances for your Sims to maybe have trouble conceiving, you can do that here. Try for baby %, I have that set for 0 because I just use Risky Woohoo, so I have that set for 0. And then woohoo reactions. So you can have bed sharing. So I have that disabled, but if you want Sims to be able to sleep in beds and they don't have a good relationship, you would enable that here. No jealousy. So I have that disabled. But if you didn't want your Sims to get jealous of each other, you can have that enabled. Use privacy for woohoo. I have that enabled. Like, we don't want an audience for our woohoo. We want it private, so I have that enabled. And then sleepy woohoo means they will go to bed if it's nighttime. That your Sims will go to sleep after the woohoo. I have that disabled. And then sim nudity. So nudity interactions. So nude woohoo you can have. I have that enabled, so they will get nude when having woohoo. And then you can do that for the hot tub and the hot springs, the sauna. You can change all that. You can do it for spa, yoga, workout, shower. You can change all of that. And then nudity ages. I have that set for teen, young adult, adults. And then you could also have stay nude after woohoo. So I have that enabled for your Sims to stay nude after woohoo. But I also have wicked whims in my game. So I think it's cancels out this nudity because Wicked Whims has their own nudity settings. So just be mindful of that too if you have Wicked Whims. And then other settings, autonomous woohoo. We love the autonomous woohoo in my game. So Sims will just autonomously woohoo. I have that enabled. Autonomous try for baby. I have that enabled. So when they're woohooing, they just might try for a pregnancy and you don't know it when you're playing it. So I have that enabled. Autonomous rest time. So I think I have it where it's 4 hours between woohoo. So you can adjust that however you'd like. Extreme woohoo, I have that disabled, but if you want your Sims to woohoo all the time, you can definitely have it enabled. I used to have it enabled, but the woohoo just got out of control, so I turned it off. So be warned. Use woohoo skill, so you can actually have like a woohoo skill in the game. So if you want that in your game, if you want your Sim to be really great at woohoo, you can do that and have that in your game. I have that disabled though. Allow birth control. So I actually see that I have that enabled. I definitely need to disable this because I do not want my Sims using birth control right now. So I definitely need to change that to disabled. So I'm going to do that. And that requires a game restart, I believe. But yeah, so if you, so make sure that you have that disabled. If you're playing my gameplay style and you don't have birth control yet, you want that disabled. So those are the MC Woohoo settings, and I saw some that I need to fix too. But that's how you get a little more fun with Woohoo in your game. And just so you guys know too, this is not part of MC Command Center. It is a separate download. So if you don't have this in your game, make sure you download that. And then the last thing that we have, you can reset all your settings. So if you do this and then you're like, I hate these settings, I just want to reset, you can just click here and reset all your settings. I'm not going to do that, but I did want to show you that too. So those are all the MC Command Center settings that I have in my game. And honestly, doing this video, I saw some that I didn't have checked. So maybe you should go in like occasionally, maybe every 3 months or something. Maybe every time you get a new pack, expansion pack or something like that, you can go in and make sure your settings are correct for your game. And honestly, you might have to change your settings between save files too. So one save file, you might want the MC Woohoo birth control to be in it, and then the other save file you might not want it to be. So you might have to go in just routinely and just check your settings. Alright guys, so let me know what you thought of this MC Command Center breakdown. Hopefully I answered your questions and helped you get some ideas of how you want to set up your game. You can always go back and rewatch this video and go through the settings with me and adjust it how you want. You can do that. Feel free to do that. And thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this video, Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. It really helps my channel out. It gets it in the algorithm. And if you found this helpful, make sure you share it with your sim friends as well. So thank you guys for watching. Until next time, bye.